Hello everyone, you voted for it, so now you're gonna get it. It's Fall Birches watercolor tutorial. And by the way, this is footage that I took out of my Patreon tutorial. So this is an outtake from an hour-and-a-half long Patreon tutorial on this fall painting. And there are moments of bliss in this painting that are so fun. I can't wait to share this footage. You're gonna learn a little trick too, an amazing paint color that you're gonna wanna know about. It's amazing. There's also moments of me not sure how to paint certain parts and struggling through that. And I'm gonna share all that. Why do I do that? Because I want to set you up for success. And one of the number one ways to have success with any creative endeavor or really anything hard in life that you don't know what the hell you're doing, you just have to keep going. You have to be stubborn and accept that you're going to make mistakes and you're going to make some ugly paintings. I made two. You want to see my ugly paintings just to prove it? Especially with this one. I'm not a landscape painter. So when y'all voted for me to paint this fall painting, I was like, okay. All right, I'll show you. So I started with studies on cheaper paper. Didn't really like them either. I didn't hate them, okay? But I didn't love them. And here's a little foreshadowing. All the foregrounds, I was just like, I don't know. So I leave that in my tutorials for a specific reason, and that is because I want to normalize that experience. It is part of growing as an artist. You must have pain. Sorry, that's just how it is. If you're not feeling pain, unsure, making ugly paintings, making mistakes, feeling like, who do I think I am to even try to be an artiste? Like Gandhi said, I never lose. I'm either learning or winning. So that is very true about that artistic process. So with this painting, we're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be so fun to watch those colors blend and merge together. It's gonna be so frustrating when we don't know what to do. And I'm gonna leave all that in the footage for you to see the highs and the lows of painting watercolor, because all that is in this tutorial. And so I hope that helps you. I put that in the tutorial in the hopes that it will encourage you. But before we go any further, my name is Rachel Parker Varner. I like to teach not just the how, but the why of watercolor so you move along your painting journey a lot faster. You can join my communities for free. I have a free community on Facebook, and I have a free community on my Patreon. Yes, you can join my Patreon for free and just stay in touch with what I'm doing. And I have a lot of exciting things coming up, including, oh my gosh, let me tell you what I'm trying to put together right now. I think it's going to happen in November. Lisa Wang, who is married to Joseph Zbukvich. Remember my video on the watercolor clock? It was super popular. That's an amazing video. Be sure to go watch that about water paper moisture levels paired with how much paint to water ratio you mix and putting them together and getting all these different effects. That video is about Joseph Zbukvich. So Lisa Wang is married to Joseph. They live in Australia. They rarely teach in the United States. They are going to be here in Charleston in November for a big show for Joseph. And he's teaching a sold-out workshop, sadly. And when I found that out, I approached Lisa and I said, hey, would you be interested in teaching? And I was shocked because, well, I was shocked when she said yes. I've been wanting to paint with Lisa for as long as I first saw this painting that I will show you here of a cat. This is her cat. It looks just like my cat. Plus, it's this amazing wet and wet technique that I would love to learn. And I have not been able to do any of her other workshops because often they're either in France or they're too far away or whatever. She's going to be in my state, Charleston, November 5th and 6th. So if you are interested in signing up for this workshop, it may still have some spots available. Be sure to check out my listing on Patreon, and you can access that even if you're a free member. So be sure to check that out because we are about to open it to the larger world. I opened it up to my Patreon students first to sign up first so that in case it sold out, they had first dibs. And that's an added benefit of joining my Patreon, is that more and more I'm going to be doing these kinds of events, and my Patreon members will have first dibs and they will hear about these events before the rest of the world does. But I will be opening up the spots, whatever spots are left, for the Lisa Wang workshop November 5th and 6th in Charleston, South Carolina. This is next month, 2025. Don't miss it. She's amazing. Anyway, my name is Rachel Parker Varner. I like to teach not just the how, but the why of watercolor. And I will talk more about how my Patreon works at the end. But for now, let's get into this outtake that I borrowed from my full real-time tutorial of this fall scene. All right, let's take a look at the high-speed footage. And I put this in here. I put this section in here, and I've started doing this in all my tutorials where I show you the process sped up so you can kind of see where we're going. I think that'll make it a lot less confusing. So, all right, here we go with the high-speed footage. All right, I'm going to do this on Fabriano Hot Press, a paper that has an enhanced surface. This is a bamboo brush, but you can use any round. An 8 round would be perfect. And I start like we always do in watercolor with really watery, light color. And yellow is the lightest color. You can paint it really thick. It will only dry so dark. So usually when you're doing an underpainting, you start with yellow and very watery yellow. And for this tree, I want it to look really dreamy. And what will help it look dreamy is to have the edges really light so it softly fades off into nothing as you go towards the edges. And notice I put my thicker color in the middle of the tree. I also paint around some dry white paper to make my painting a lot more sparkly and fresh. And I splat on a lot of color. I lift out some color to lighten some parts of the tree. And then I put color back in and lift it out, splat it, mop up the puddles with a thirsty brush, add some M-gram naphthol red. And I just keep playing with it until I'm happy with it. And here goes in some Holbein Aureolin to add even more variety. These are analogous colors. They sit next to each other on the color wheel. Yellow sits next to orange, sits next to red, which is kind of a version of hot pink. And now I'm going to get some cobalt. And while some of this tree is wet, I'm going to paint some of the blue background into the edge of the tree so they melt together. And I also paint around the light branches. Remember our mantra that I talked about a few videos ago, my free YouTube video where I talk about the mantra of watercolor being paint around your lights. Paint around your lights, paint around your white tree trunks, paint around some white sparkles. But I am painting some blue up into the bottom of this tree so that it has a soft, dreamy edge. Soft, wet and wet edges are key to making your work look dreamy. Now everything is completely dry. And this is when you can assess what does it need. All right, so I'm just hand drawing in a branch to help guide me paint around the white branch. And I'm using very watery cobalt blue. This time I have my 12 long round, which is a really nice round. You could use that for the whole painting. In fact, I'm painting around the light branches with very watery tea consistency cobalt blue. This is the equivalent of basically painting with paint water. It's more water, less paint. And then I'm adding thicker cobalt blue and a little bit of Daniel Smith permanent green light. So as your paper sets up, you can go in with darker and darker colors. And then I just soak up some of the drips and the puddles. And then I splat in some orange to vibrate with those greens. And then I drop in some Indian yellow, almost cream consistency, and it explodes on my page. And it is just amazing. Let's see what the magic Indian yellow will do. Will it like glow? Look at that. It just explodes. It's just so pretty. Ooh la la. Okay, I need to stop because it's too bright. It's too bright. So calm down. Yellow. Okay, let's put some orange in there to like calm that down and put some blue back in it to Just listen, calm down. I know you're excited, yellow, but okay, gosh, that is so pretty. Okay, that is so pretty. And those colors will dance together and do things that we as artists cannot ever do. All right, so we're going to continue to paint in some blue background on this side, and I'm painting around some very random white shapes using a little dry brush, using mostly cobalt blue, and as it gets darker, that means I'm using thicker paint. I start with very watery light paint, and here I dropped in more of that fun, diffusing, exploding Indian yellow, just because it's fun to watch it do it. Not because it really needs that color in that area, just because it's fun. Painting sometimes can just be done for fun, and don't worry about making a beautiful painting. And really, landscape is a great way to just play with watercolor because you don't have to make it look like a certain animal. You can just let it flow, and that you can put colors next to each other, just like in this painting, and just play with them. So here I go with some milk consistency orange, splatting it in again. And then I'm putting a little bit darker gray details in the background. I wasn't sure if I liked this. Not sure. Can't say that I'm sure. I'm not exactly a landscape painter, but I like to play, and this is a play painting. All right, and then I'm putting a little bit of shading in the form of very tea consistency cobalt blue in the trunks of the trees, because they do need some shading. You don't want to leave them completely flat white. So really watery tea consistency cobalt blue is perfect for that job. Getting a little bit thicker blue now to make the ground darker. I was thinking I need to ground this painting by making the ground a little darker. Don't know if I like that effect or not. I think it might have gotten a little heavy. I think I would have left it right about where it is now, and I think it looks really good. I wouldn't have kept messing with it from this point on. Just note to you guys, if you want to leave yours a little bit more delicate, I think it would look good. I think it looks good just as it is right now. So just putting in some little grass details, trying to not get grass gate where every single strand of grass matches the strand next to it and it all looks identical. We want our grass to look organic. Some clumps are thick, some are thin, some grasses poke up, some bend over. All right, and then I'm just continuing to build up the background with some more orange. All right, now I'm getting very thick lamp black, and I get it on my brush and then I blot my brush so that I get kind of a feathery dry brush effect for the black birch bark details. And you don't want too much of this black in your birch bark because it'll get too busy looking, and you want each little birch marking that we're doing here to look different from the other one you made. So some are little more square shapes, some have a bit of an S shape, some just have a random like heart monitor shape. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'm softening some of them to make some of them have more variety, just so they look organic. You don't want birch tree marking, Kate. All right, here I go in with more green. Don't know if it needed that. I blotted some of it up, wasn't crazy about it, wasn't sure. Splatted into it with some yellow. When in doubt, splat, I guess. Hey, look, just have fun. Splatting in some more orange, splatting a bit more branch detail into the tree to give it a little bit more form in a couple places. You don't want a bunch of hard-edged, bold spatter everywhere because then it'll look too busy and too overwhelming. All right, getting some blue and red mixed together, cobalt and M-gram naphthol red for a purpley blue. I thought that if I painted more dark blue behind this tree, it would give it a little bit more focus because it's creating contrast. Wherever you have super light against darker areas, it's going to draw the viewer's eye, and I thought that might act as a nice anchor. So that's why I put that darker blue. I re-darkened the blue behind the branches of that far right tree right here that I'm working on now, to anchor the painting. All right, just spattering a little bit of blue just to balance the blues out. I've got my long rigger. Everything's completely dry. So in watercolor, you can paint over dried layers with details. This is called putting on the jewelry. You don't want too much. You don't want too little. It's just like when you wear jewelry, you don't want too much. You don't want too little. So you want a few branches to pull everything together. But you don't want a zillion branches. It would be too busy. And try to use a light touch. You might want to practice on a scrap piece of paper, get a little muscle memory going before you work on your painting. You could also just use a Pigma Micron pen for these little branch details. I think it would look good. And I'm going to sign with a Pigma Micron pen. Put a little scribble here and there in the tree. Why not? A little definition to the edges of the trees. I think it pulls everything together nicely. But you've got to do this all on dry paper, of course. All right, I'm going to remove it from the block, but I am still going to use some white gel pen. Darkening a little bit more here and there. Just to quiet down some. The bright white splats do call attention to themselves, so I'm calming down some of them to further define the white trees. All right, this is a white gel pen, broad white gel pen. I think I over scribbled a little. I got a little too crazy with my jewelry. You don't need too much of this. I think a little bit gives a nice little touch, but I might have used too much. I'm just being critical. Really, this painting was all about having fun, so don't be critical like me and just enjoy the process. Thank you so much for joining me for this fall painting. It's Fall Birches. Now I will tell you a little bit more about my Patreon and how it works. Patreon was invented for artists whose income kind of goes like this. And we're not artsy corns. We need to eat too, and a steady income is much more desirable. So that's why I started Patreon, and that's why Patreon was started for artists. It's to support your favorite artists, and also you get something back from them usually. For me, what you get access to is a library of over 200 tutorials. It's basically the last 5 or 6 years of my painting. I've videoed everything, turn them into tutorials and demonstrations. Some are tutorials where I really hold your hand and take it slow. Sometimes I even slow down the footage. And those are my $13 tier, highly edited tutorials and that's why I say they're more for beginners, because they slow down and really explain what I'm doing. So you learn the fundamentals, whys, and hows of watercolor. So that's in my $13 tier. I put lots of work into those. And then there's also demonstrations. I call them demonstrations because it's kind of like watching me paint over my shoulder. And I explain a lot in those tutorials too, but they are not as slowed down. They're not as highly edited where I'm putting in a lot of extra explanation and demonstrations. So those are the two kinds of tutorials I have, from everything from super beginner tutorials all the way up to paintings that I have gotten into international competitions and have won awards. You can watch that painting process for those paintings, which I did that because I wish some of my favorite artists would provide that kind of footage, which some of them do, but then they charge $6,000 for a workshop and you have to go to Timbuktu to see it. So that is what I have on my Patreon, and I think you'll really enjoy it. No matter what level painter you are, there is something for everyone. So also, might I add, they are ad-free. You get a downloadable line drawing and a reference photo, supply list, and a lot of the tutorials really have in-depth how as well as why explanation. So you learn the foundations of painting. And I've had people tell me, even though I watched a tutorial say about a cat, what I learned was to paint anything. So I teach in a way where you will learn the fundamentals of watercolor to be successful no matter what you want to paint. So I hope you'll come join me. And did I mention they are ad-free? No annoying ads. Also, when you join my Patreon for a year, you get 2 months free. So you pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free, and you get more in-depth access to me. You can email me your works in progress or your finalized paintings and get critiques or more in-depth suggestions about what to do next with your paintings. And you can also join my communities for free. And if you ask for feedback on your paintings you post there, we will give you feedback. But if you want more in-depth feedback and you want to get 2 months free, be sure to join my Patreon for a year. So I hope you'll join me, but at the very least, come join my Patreon for free, where you can stay in closer touch with me. You can kind of keep in touch with my adventures that I'm planning. I have a couple up my sleeve, including the Lisa Wang workshop coming up in November in Charleston. So it's kind of like joining a watercolor fun club. It's starting to turn into that because I have another big fun trip that I'm planning, and my members have expressed great excitement over. So I can't wait to share more about that when I get the details ironed out. So stay tuned for all that excitement. I've got so many things coming up. Do you want me to show you some of the paintings that I've been working on so you can see what is coming up? This is a painted bunting, obsessed. I have a Christmas tree showing the paint color that I shared in this footage. The Christmas tree is a tutorial, so don't forget about that one. This is a more in-depth tutorial on my Patreon so that beginners can really be more successful with it. This will be a tutorial soon. People are excited about this one too. Okay, these are works in progress, so they're not done, but I'm really excited about some of these. So this is my late great cat, Sadie, and she used to make an appearance on this channel. She has gone over the Rainbow Bridge, but she was an amazing muse. She used to sit next to me like a co-anchor. So I'm working on that tutorial. That painting's not done. This one's so fun, but it's not done. How adorable is that? Fluffy white dog. This one might be a tutorial. It's getting kind of complicated and long, so that doesn't always make for a great tutorial, but if people ask for it, I just love it. I love how the sunflowers glow. I myself, on my journey, am trying to learn how to kind of find my sea legs painting portraits, because I've painted some portraits that I'm very proud of, but I'm trying to find my style, if that makes sense. So I'm just working on another one of my son, Parker. This is a work in progress. It's not done. I like how the cat's coming out. Of course, I'm more of a cat painter. If you like painting loose, dreamy animals, then that's mostly what my Patreon is. I saw this scene in person. I stayed at my parents' house who live on a lake, and this heron was eating a snake, and the light was gorgeous. I happened to have my high power video camera. I got video of this heron. Yeah, he's got a snake. Sure enough, wow. And I'm so excited about this painting. I'm just having fun with it. Trying to capture that glow of his beak, the glow of the wet snake. Who knew I would enjoy painting a snake? Not me. But I'm excited about this painting. And anyway, so that's what I've been up to. That's what's coming up. And I hope you'll join me. I have so much fun with watercolor, and I share the highs and the lows to help you see that that's just part of how watercolor is. And it's such an exciting medium. And I just want to encourage you guys to try and paint watercolor, and not all your paintings are going to come out beautiful. Most of them are going to be disappointments. That's just how painting watercolor is. It doesn't mean you're not talented. You just have to be stubborn. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this. Now go watercolor your world. Bye, everybody.